What was your favorite part?
My name is Thomas, I'm an aspiring film composer, and you're watching Stir and Fry. Every time director Steven Spielberg and composer John Williams join forces to take 2 hours of your time, you can trust them to take you for a ride. Why? In 1974, Spielberg and Williams made their first film together, The Sugarland Express, a crime drama based on a true story. Spielberg wanted a big orchestral score. Surprisingly, it was John Williams who suggested something sparser, a lonely harmonica soaring above a light string accompaniment. The film did well critically, but not so well commercially. The big bucks were to come the following year. The story of how Jaws came to be made is something of movie legend. The mechanical shark kept breaking down, forcing Spielberg to show less shark. And that turned out to be for the best, because for the most part, it's John Williams who plays the shark.
But, 2 notes, and you've got a villain. I don't know what to say about it. Totally brilliant.
Before Jaws, summer wasn't really the time to go to the cinema, it was the time to enjoy the sun. But as air-conditioned multiplexes started to spring up, the thrilling summer creature feature became a box office sensation, the first summer blockbuster. The DNA of Jaws is something that Spielberg and Williams have harnessed time and time again. Big films that demand to be seen on the big screen. And the proof's in the pudding. No director-composer duo has had a bigger and more enduring impact on popular culture than Spielberg and Williams. Step 1. Choose good stories. Most of Spielberg's films are about ordinary people, usually children, who get plunged into extraordinary circumstances. We empathise with the characters because they're like us, or how we used to be when we were children. This gives them a universal, timeless quality. But to pull this off, step 2, you need to find some phenomenal child actors. These are justifiably hard to come by. They're children. They're at the very beginning of their careers. But when the right person comes along, you can't imagine anyone else in the part.
That might make your whole day, huh? Might make your whole life, huh? And then he'd be your friend forever. And I wouldn't take him away. Okay, I'll get it.
Okay, kid, you got the job.
Step 3. Bring the world to life. This is where Spielberg and Williams really come into their own. They anchor you in a specific time and place, even if it's somewhere you've never been, even if it's somewhere that doesn't exist. And arguably, the most important ingredient is the theme tune. Not all movies have theme tunes. It's a practice from classic cinema, when the credits always came at the start of the movie. The theme music that played over the credits clued the audience into what they were about to see. It set the tone. Every time John Williams writes a theme tune, it fits so well that it becomes synonymous with the movie. And the theme tune is always woven throughout the rest of the score. It becomes a beacon of familiarity. During a chaotic action scene, for instance, the music responds accordingly. But Williams and Spielberg always know the perfect moment to take us home.
John rewrites my films musically. If I have 6 drafts of a movie by a writer, John is the 7th and final draft. And that's the draft I go out with.
John Williams isn't afraid of using repetition, even within a single theme. Once he's happened upon something that's simple and distinctive, he uses it again and again. This might be a rhythmic idea, like the dotted 8/16 notes from Indiana Jones. Or it might be a certain contour to the notes, perhaps ascending and then descending, as for E.T. Williams mixes up some of the notes to create interest and development, but really the underlying patterns are there, repeating again and again. This is what makes them stick in your mind.
Tell me when it's over!
To make music for big films, you need a big sound. And a traditional orchestra is a colour palette that has worked for centuries. The legendary Russian composer Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov describes the different instruments of the orchestra almost like they're people with their own unique personalities. From the strings, adapted to the infinite variety of shades of expression, to the woodwinds, the flute, cold in quality, specially suitable in the major key to melodies of light and graceful character, in the minor key to slight touches of transient sorrow. The oboe, artless and gay in the major, pathetic and sad in the minor. The clarinet, pliable and expressive, suitable in the major to melodies of a joyful or contemplative character, or to outbursts of mirth, in the minor to sad and reflective melodies or impassioned and dramatic passages. The bassoon, in the major an atmosphere of senile mockery, a sad ailing quality in the minor. Then there are the brass instruments, the trumpet, clear and fairly penetrating in tone, the horn soft, poetical and full of beauty, the trombone dark and threatening in the deepest register, brilliant and triumphant in the high compass. Not to mention the percussion and John Williams' main instrument, the piano. Notice how each offers something utterly unique, and then there's the question of how to combine all these different sounds. For instance, Rimsky-Korsakov writes that the woodwind instruments thicken the strings when both are playing the same part, but soften the brass. When the strings are paired with the brass, both are heard very distinctly. Combining all three in unison produces a rich, mellow and coherent tone. John Williams spent his early career orchestrating and performing for some of the great film composers, including Bernard Herrmann and Henry Mancini. He became familiar with the colours of the orchestra and how to blend them, and Spielberg gave him the canvas on which to paint his greatest works. For years, Spielberg wrestled with the possibility of directing Schindler's List, based on the true story of an industrialist who saved over 1,000 Jewish refugees from the Holocaust. As Spielberg reflected on his own Jewish heritage and becoming a father, he eventually decided to take it on.
My favorite John Williams score of anything he's written is Schindler's List. John's music is global, and it lives beyond its source material, and it deserves to.
Saving Private Ryan is perhaps best known for its shocking and reportedly accurate depiction of the D-Day landing at Omaha Beach, but for this extended sequence, Spielberg makes a surprising musical choice. There isn't any music. Even when you're working with John Williams, sometimes the best music for a scene is no music at all. The release of The Fabelmans marks the 50th anniversary of Spielberg and Williams' first film together, and it looks like it might be their last. It's Spielberg's most personal film, loosely based on how he himself came to love cinema. It celebrates the ability of frames flowing through a projector to show things in a new light, to make us realise who we are and who we are not. The piano takes on a central role within the film and the film score, taking us to the heart of the process behind every Spielberg and Williams movie.
Yeah.
Up or down?
Up.